out of 545.
I am 4.2.
I am 121507.
I am 3.7.
I am 1320.
I am 1 out of 35.
I am 91208.
I am 31209.
I am 3.25.
I am 4.5.
I am 990. I am 4.9.
I am 4.0.
I am 1111.
I am 980.
I'm 42.
I am 504.
I am 970.
I am 2.3.
I am 86899.
I'm 16.
I am 2.7.
I am 4.46.
I am 4.81.
I am 1 of 3.
I am 6 pounds 12 ounces.
I am 2027.
I am 2.9. I am 2.9.
I am 6 pounds 4
I am
ounces.
912.
I am 1 out of 35.
I am
3.7.
3.1507.
People view me as just another Hispanic girl, uneducated and likely to drop out, but I'm more than that, and I'm going to be a first-generation graduate.
My GPA does not define who I truly am and only shows the look part of who I am.
My age is often used to define me. Adults often dismiss me and don't believe that I deserve a seat at the table just because of the year I was born. But I've experienced more in 16 years than most adults ever will, and I deserve a say just as much as anyone else.
I was scared to share my GPA today because it felt inadequate and causes me to compare myself to my peers. My GPA isn't who I am, and it doesn't show my potential.
I am a statistic that keeps my school open. As a student, my experiences is represented by an SAT score rather than my experiences and my journey to get there. I am strapped to the expectation that my school would get a charter renewal because of the minority group I'm in. But I'm entitled to say that my education should never come at the expense of my experiences.
The only Hispanic student in all of my AP classes, in a school where we make up 57% of the population. Without my mom's persistent advocacy, the statistic would be 0 out of 35. I am livid that Hispanic students are being systematically oppressed, hindering them from what they are truly capable of. We are far more intelligent than this statistic.
I chose my birthday, September 12th, because people often overlook me because I'm young. They don't think that my opinions matter, even though I have a lot to say and my thoughts are just as important as anyone else's. My age does not define me, yet it is a determining factor in people's perceptions of me.
People usually overlook my voice because I'm a young black male, but I'm more capable than the standard that I'm held to.
I am driven to do well in school because of my mom and her experience as a teen mother. With the support of my community, I am able to have the freedom to follow my dreams. I will not let her hard work go to waste.
When people see me, they assume that I'm about studying and math, but I'm an artist and there are other things that I enjoy outside of school.
In my education experience, people have based my level of intelligence on my SAT scores and whether I will make it to further education. A simple number doesn't define me, and I will be a student at Arapahoe Community College this fall, taking my first steps into the medical field. Just because I have a high GPA, people assume that my parents pushed me to it. But in reality, I see that education is the route to change. I push myself so I can get a good job and make change in the community.
When people see my GPA, they often think I don't need support when in reality I do. With pressures from my parents and teachers, I would often hyperfixate on my grades and always get nervous whenever I'd have a terrible grade on an assignment. I was often seen as my GPA and not a person.
I chose my birthday because it is considered to be a lucky number. Being the golden one comes with a lot of recognition, but it also comes with a lot of pressure. The pressure stems from being a first-generation student with parents who want me to follow the traditional medical pathway. I don't want that to define me because I know I'm capable of paving my own path.
This is my SAT score, and it has held me back mentally a lot recently because it makes me worry that I may not be able to support my family and myself in the future. But I am not this number. I will not only be a first-generation college student, but I will be my family's success and their beam of hope. 980 doesn't describe how hard I've worked over the years, and I will make my family proud.
I have lost motivation and no longer have energy to go to school. I oftentimes cry myself to sleep. 42% of students feel persistently sad and hopeless, while 29% of students have poor mental health. Because of academics. Academics shouldn't define us. Our mental health matters. My mental health matters.
I picked this number because I don't feel like I should be defined about what IC says about me. Because of this, I have been treated as less. I will not let this number define me or my future.
Because my score is not a 1020, colleges see me as unfit to attend. But I did everything everybody told me in order to get into a good college. But it feels as if colleges turned a blind eye to my extracurriculars. Why does my experience as a school board debate moderator not matter? Why does my experience as a legislative intern not matter? Why do these factors not play a role when determining my fitness to attend college?
I'm the youngest of 5. I have a lot of pressure to succeed. My GPA makes me feel stupid. Just because my GPA is low doesn't mean that I'm dumb. I will achieve my goals and make my family proud.
That's the only identity I have here because I wasn't born here. I came here looking for more opportunity, but I can't even apply to college without being a citizen. I'm oftentimes overlooked because of my status. They see me smile, but ignore my strength. They hear my laughter, but dismiss my life. I am more than just that number.
I'm seen as a child whose only words should be college. Anything else is seen as an adult issue. Anytime I talk about injustices in our system, adults seem to be baffled that I know what's going on. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I don't care.
People often judge me for my GPA. They assume I slack off in class. They make me feel like I'm not smart enough and like I'm outcasted. My current high school doesn't give me the same opportunities they give my peers. Colleges will assume that I won't make it. They assume I'm not smart enough. Statistics will say that I'm just another Mexican woman that won't be able to make it, saying I'm just one of them. But I'm really not. I'll crave my own path.
Even though I have a high GPA, I shouldn't be teaching myself in my classes. I deserve the same help and opportunities as other students. My GPA shouldn't be an assumption of the support I need.
With this number, schools can see that I take hard classes and get good grades, and that I have the ability to become a surgeon. But they don't see the mental health struggles that I've been through. They don't see that I'm a kind and caring person who takes care of her friends and puts her family first. They don't see that I love cats and I love art. They don't see the passion that I can bring to my work. But that doesn't matter because I'm just 4.81.
That's the number of Black men who will end up successful, imprisoned, or dead. My success as a student has been determined by my skin color. People see me as dangerous or incapable. From birth, my expectation has been in the streets or in the dirt. My success shouldn't be determined by something I was born with.
Some people thought when I became a teen mom, my life was over. But for me, it was just the beginning. I will achieve all my dreams.
I may be young, but I take my future seriously. I'm part of the SHIFT program. It allows me to get out of my comfort zone and find my own voice. I'm getting ahead of the stereotypes and finding my own destiny. I will not allow the system to determine my future.
My GPA is not a reflection of my intelligence. I am seen in the system as a black male instead of being seen for what I'm worth. In the system, they only see me for my grades, my race, my gender, and my GPA, instead of seeing the character I am at heart.
This More Than a Number campaign that has been driven by our Shift 23 fellows has echoed the voices of the many children that I've served in this work over the last 20 years. Sadly, current conditions in a lot of places still do not see them, still do not hear them, still do not know them, and therefore are failing them. And we've got to change that, and we've got to change that now. I stand with these students, and I invite you to lean in with us to create the conditions in our city and our state that truly affirms that they are more than a number. See them, hear them, know them.
But I could relate from what they were saying in terms of like GPA or I did ACT, but now they're doing like the SAT and stuff like that, and how they think that like this number will dictate what they do for the rest of their lives. Or like if they don't have a perfect SAT score, then then they're never going to be anything in the world, quote unquote. So I feel like it was eye-opening, especially just like thinking back to how my mentality was back when I was like in high school, because it's like hard. I feel like everything is like doomsday when you're in high school. So obviously if you always have adults telling you that like grades matter, that you need like a 4.0, that you need great SATs scores, that you need all of this in order to become whoever it is that you want to be in life, then that's gonna, you're gonna keep having that in your head.
And then what happens if you don't achieve it?
Yeah, exactly.
High school just becomes this total like, I guess I suck now.
Right, exactly. And I feel like slowly as adults, we're like, we're putting down like students' like confidence. We're like knocking it down like day by day by saying all these things of like, they're great, that this, that, like, and I feel like sometimes it's like unconsciously.
Are there ones that stood out to you as they were putting it together, and then we got to hear them go from like draft thought to final thought, and then to see them record them? Are there ones that just stood out to you? I know for me it was like Trey did his 504, and that was his number, and just understanding the things that Black boys are going through in the system still, and then to hear him articulate, this is what I've been put in the box of. And so I feel like the expectations for me are limited. I feel like no one really believes that I can go. We know where he wants to go, and we won't share that here, but we know the big goals that he has for his life. But the people who look at him see big Black boy, 504, and they don't see the potential that Trey has. And so I think when he shared that, that one still kind of like gets me all choked up because I just related to his.
Yeah, definitely. I guess when I thought about like the whole campaign, and it took me a second to really think about numbers that would identify these students, because when hiring them, I never asked any numbers. Yeah. That was never a question that popped into my head. And even my own experience of going from high school to college to the real world, like the numbers weren't really the thing that got me to where I am today. And so I forget that that's like at the forefront of their minds, because once you've experienced high school, college, and then trying to find a job, the numbers are just like assume that you could have them. So for me, it was like an eye-opener to be like, well, I didn't realize I was striving for all these numbers this whole time to get to this place, when the real thing that got me this place had nothing to do with those numbers. But if I didn't have those numbers, it might have been a very different story for me. And so like even hearing Olivia, she talks about 1 in 35, I believe. She talks a lot about how her mom did so much advocating for her to be in this space that she is currently. And if her mom didn't do that for her, she would be 0 in 35, basically. So to hear that the students that are excelling had so much support from their families and their parents, and the ones that, you know, their parents aren't aware really yet of the system and where they need to push their kid and where they need to put resources. Those students are just so lost in what direction, and they think these numbers are the numbers that'll get them to this X place, and that's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, we know that, right? Like, we know that, like, if you have like the good grades or whatever, you're like just cruising by. Like, teachers are like, oh yeah, like perfect, like you're doing good, or star student. Every time there's something, like say there's like a principal award or whatever, you're the one that's getting it and stuff like that. And like the students that are lacking and need the extra help are the students that don't necessarily get the extra help, because then teachers get frustrated because that might not be their style of learning. Like, you know, if you have someone that's more visionary and needs to see things like on a board or whatever, and like teachers are just like set in their ways of the way that they teach, a lot of like the times I feel like that's how those students are just like neglected or like don't really care. But if you're like a good student, they're like, you know, you'll get nominated to do certain things, or you'll always be like on the good side, or you know what I mean. So
I think too, what was eye-opening, the flip side of that too, is we got a great diverse group of kids. I learned that we have a diversity of GPAs in the shift group, right? They, you know, different numbers, right? And I think what also resonated with me was our students who were, based on academic standards, are excelling. 4.4s, 4.2s. I mean, I heard so many 4-point numbers, right? But to hear them say, yeah, I'm doing well based on the work that you put in front of me, but I'm struggling mentally, or I'm stressed because of the weight of this. And nobody reaches out to me because they assume that this student over here is a 1.8 or a 2.3. They need the help. But over here, I'm struggling and I don't know how to get help. I don't know how to say, hey, me too, right? And I think it was almost heartbroken, because I saw so many of our kids who are just like this pressure, like of this pressure to perform. Like, I got to get the 4.9, or even our students who talk about I'm a 980 on the SAT and they had hopes to go into this college, and no one really helped them achieve the number that was going to get them into that college. So it's just, I mean, to your point, both your points is just like, how sad is it that our education system is not holistically focused on the development of students, but is really about chasing that number. But really, it's like we're teaching these kids to chase numbers and not hopes and dreams. Right? We heard hopes and dreams as they're talking to you guys.
Yeah. But even as we're teaching them like to chase numbers and, like you said, not hopes and dreams, and like the system is not getting them to those numbers. Right. So even if it was like, you know, like if everything was working perfectly fine, then like how come they're all not getting into Harvard or to all these prestigious schools? How come they're all not getting all these numbers if we're already neglecting socio-emotional, like, you know, stuff, if we're already neglecting like counselors, therapists, whatever you want to call them, then like why are we not excelling and like getting students to have that like great number?
So yeah, I think you make a great point. So it's like, okay, so where do we go from here, right? It's like we've got this more than a number, because what you just triggered in me was like, yeah, what's the account? There's the accountability. These numbers really matter. Then how come in every school you're not set up to help every child achieve that number?
Yeah.
Right? If a 3.5, 4.0 GPA matters, or a 1,300 on the SAT matters, if 80% attendance matters, if all of these numbers matter, then how come the system is not set up to ensure?
Yeah, you're already failing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very unfair, because like for me, I wasn't really aware of the supports that I had that gave me the 4.4 GPA in high school, that, you know, made me like
4.4.
I didn't realize what supports I had that helped me get to that point. And then I went to college, academic probation the first year, 1.9, because I really, let's just say, studying is not a thing for me. And And the skill sets that I had to learn to get myself from that 1.9 to that 4 or back to a 3.0, I still had so many resources supporting me just to focus on getting my GPA from that one place to 3.0. And so the system needs to be more honest that anybody can excel and do the 4.4 that I did with the supports that I had. But students are not going to be aware that those supports are acting in their life at 5 years old.
And do you believe those supports are everywhere?
No, I believe that people who have resources and people who are surrounded by, or students really that are surrounded by those resources can excel. But we don't have it as an expectation that every student should have those resources. It's more based on, oh, did your parents go to college? Do you have money? Do you have these things? Where a student didn't choose to be born into whatever situation or come to that situation.
So would you agree with Jessica then that like part of this More Than a Number campaign is to understand that the system is truly not set up for students to actually succeed? And then what our students are asking of us is like let your walk match your talk. You know, if you really think this is about my success, then show it to us. DPS, APS, Cherry Creek Public School, whoever.
And don't let a student at 8 years old in middle school should not be telling you, I need these supports to be excelling in school right now. Like, we know that these supports are needed from what we've seen in successful students versus students who are not succeeding. It has nothing to do with the student, but it's that whole thing of like, why is the person that's going through the struggle have to tell you what they need when we are ready? Like, it's
ready now.
There's been a study after study after study after study telling us this is what needs to be done.
Right.
And we keep coming to the table like, what needs to be done?
Well, yeah. Well, schools, I mean, are failing like in elementary, you know, are failing students at elementary, and like you get to middle school and then you get to high school, and it's like, oh, it's too late.
Right.
Like, oh,
you should have known.
Sorry, you're still at a 5th grade reading level. Can't really teach you, you know, how to get better on that.
Remedial courses in college, that's what you get. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get a remedial course, you know,
that you have to pay for.
You don't even know what a remedial course is. You didn't even know you were at 5th grade reading level when you're in 9th grade, and like these are things people are labeling you as without letting you know, hey, you're at a 5th grade reading level, and without explaining to you what that means and how that's going to affect your future. They just tell you, oh, you're not doing it, like you're not proficient, as if they're supposed to understand what that means.
Talk about with your as you think about this More Than Numbers. So we talk about kids being seen, being heard, being known. What have you learned about shift students, shift fellows, that you guys didn't know before? What did you pick up on? What have you learned about them as people? And what do you appreciate about them?
That face.
Oh, sorry. I was supposed to make the face.
Yes, because like, wait. No, I would say because we in all transcripts we spent like, we did a first run of videos, and you know, they kind of gave us very like surface level stuff, and then we had to go back in and really push them to go deeper. And I think that's when I realized, okay, they don't feel that they can speak the truth or talk about their experience without it being something that somebody pities or something that somebody looks at them as like, oh, you're just trying to gain attention or whatever, and they're not understanding this is just my life and it's okay to share it. So it was really cool. Once we did go back and refilm, I learned, you know, most of these students, regardless of their backgrounds, all kind of struggle with the same thing, you know, finding their identity, figuring out what they want to do in this world. Generation, you know, parents who don't understand them. That's a big one, is parents who are disconnected from what students are going through now and the pressure of, you know, making your family proud or being the one that made it. We have a lot of first generation students who feel that immense pressure to be the one that makes it for their family. So that's been it. I didn't know that about most of our students.
Were you first gen?
Yeah. First gen high school graduate and college graduate.
How did you, because we heard a lot of it, like there's some of the sisters I did not know that they were first gen, right, for their families. How did that make you feel hearing that? Because it's a different journey, right? It's like a weight, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know like the struggle's real.
Yeah.
Like it's hard growing up with like being the first person that like was born here, the first person like with immigrant parents. It's hard. It's hard being like the oldest one, especially I feel like we have a few students that are like the oldest siblings. You carry all the weight, honestly. You're like the translator, you're the person that does the taxes, you're the person that like signs all these crazy stuff. You're probably the one that's like doing your own paperwork every single year to be enrolled in school. So yeah, I mean, I was trying to think back to like whenever they would tell their stories, I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. Like it was hard. It's
and they're dealing with so much. I mean, I think that's you know, I mean, I'm holding back the tears. Yeah, they're dealing with so much. That's what that's probably got me through all of this. Like it's like, has the world gotten better? You guys know, for me, I've been in this work a little bit longer than you guys.
I could tell by
you could tell by
the white hairs.
But I think for me, it was like, what is fatiguing a little bit is to hear the same struggle.
Yeah.
Right. That we haven't gotten any better at supporting kids. We haven't gotten any better. I mean, and there's pockets, right? Don't get me wrong. There's pockets, and we know we celebrate with different school communities that are doing great. But overall, the system is still not serving kids well, and it's not supporting parents well, and it's scary more than it is, you know, exciting, and it's more despair than it is hope. And I think for me that was like the biggest thing, is like, okay, this cannot be the same system that Brooklyn's gonna go through. So like, you know, I got a little selfish with all this, hearing the high school kids, and got a daughter that's going to the middle school. I was like, oh no. We cannot do this. This cannot be the same cycle. So
yeah. And frankly, that like whole unknown factor, or that like scary factor, it stays with you all throughout college. Because even in like college, it's still the same thing. Like now, hopefully you have all these scholarships and all that to help you pay for it. Otherwise, you might be getting in debt to be going to college. And then it's like, oh, snap, did I pick the right major? Like, am I actually going to get a job as soon as I graduate? And will that job actually be in the field that I've picked? And how much am I going to get paid? Will it be enough to, you know, like support me, pay back the student loans and all of that? I feel like it takes like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years after college to start finding yourself. Especially like if you didn't grow up with like a super supportive like community around you, 2 to 3 years after graduating college, so you could actually find what it is that you want to do, and for you not to be scared out of your life, to be like, oh, like I have to go through this straight narrow path because that's what's going to give me money every single 2 weeks or every single week, as opposed to like, you know, taking a little bit more of a curvy path and like getting there. But then you have all these people that are telling you like, oh, why are you going to school for arts? Why are you going to school? Like, you're gonna be homeless. Like, you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna give you any money, but it's like you're still crushing those students' dreams. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you guys think? What do you think is next? What do you think is next from this first shift? I mean, as you two as the lead coaches with Shift 23, what do you think is next for them, and as they push this forward?
I mean, I would see a lot more leadership from them. I think that this has really pushed them to be more comfortable speaking out, having a purpose, all of that. Like, this has been kind of that catalyst to them also understanding, like, we do have a voice, we can make change. So I would see hopefully them stepping up as leaders in their schools and their communities, really feeling more comfortable talking about what's going on. You know, for our seniors, obviously they're about to graduate, so I'm very excited to see them take on college, take on the world, you know, especially after they've had a dose of us three. But I just hope that they feel the passion to, you know, lead with their story, lead with who they are, and really like help the next generation and be leaders for them and see what we see in them. Because that's been the thing I I've been waiting for it to click with them, is like them to understand they're enough.
Yeah.
And I think this campaign has really helped them understand, like, oh, my story is literally enough.
Yeah.
I'm Adriana.
I'm Jada.
I am Olivia.
I am Mara.
I am Audrey.
I am Lawrence.
I am Cece.
I am Brian.
I am Deontay.
I am Lily.
I am Riley.
I am Samantha.
I am Trey.
I am Itzael.
I'm Avery.
I am Liliana.
I am Clara.
I am Brianna.
I am Ventura.
I am Sophia.
I am a Jace.
I am Lily.
I am Jen.
I am Ant.
I am Olivia.
I am Ari.
I am Clay.
I am Jada.
Three, two, one.
I am Vernon. And you are not.
I am Maya. I am 5'1" and I will beat Vernon up.
3, 2. Three, 2, 1.
I am 4.0. Oh, I forgot it. I'm sorry.
3, 2, 1.
My number is 723. Wait, dang.
You're good, you're good. I am.
I am 723.
Oh, hold on, sorry. We stopped recording.
2, 1.
My number is 723.
Dang.
Why did I start again?
1. I am just a kid. Or 2, 1.
I am 3.58. The number doesn't define. Oh my gosh.
I am Legend.